Hey, what's up guys, this is TBone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So in today's episode, I'm going to be trying out a couple of different decks, and we're going to be going up against Korelium as well as Diamond bosses. So we're going to get right into it. I'm going to talk about the teams I'm using. I'm also going to be talking about why I'm using it, and also just how viable really is it. And I'll be honest with you, a couple of the decks I'm using probably will not be something that other people can easily emulate. Just because I am using, number one, a card that isn't really available in the game anymore. But if you had this card, it's just in your codex, then I would recommend that you bring it out and try it. It's called the Avatar of Disgust, which gives you a 2-turn delay for all enemies in your fight. So better than the 3-star Yoran Swarmers, which only turn delays for one enemy. This will actually slow all of them, which is really effective in wave fights. And I'm using also the Devilish Duel, which I consider to be one of the greatest ultimate forms in Generation 3. And I am putting it to use this event with 3 counts. If you don't have counts, you can also use Frankie, which is also part of the collection hero here. So I'm going up against a level 11 Korelium map. It's not it's not super high in the level count yet, but this strategy will work for basically, I believe, even higher levels, based on what I can tell here, for 2 reasons. Number one, the initial health that you get is high enough such that you don't have to worry about losing, with a couple of hits. Okay, and the second thing is, once you have the turn delay going, you will eventually be able to chip down the damage, because there's no time limit and there's also no turn limit. So this is a deck that, with this approach, you're basically guaranteeing yourself, chip damage every single turn. And right now I'm up against a mini boss instead of a wave boss, so it is going to take a little bit longer. And what I'm doing right now is I'm waiting for my Earth Commander skill point to go up to about 200 or so. So the thing about the Devilish Duel and the count is it will create up to 27 power gems at 300 skill points. But starting at about 200 or so, it starts generating enough power gems on the board so that it could power up my my Avatar of Disgust every single turn. So the Avatar of Disgust has a 1-turn cooldown, okay, and it requires 24 gems to be powered up. So at about 210 commander skill points or so, it starts becoming possible for me to power up every single turn. So you can see here, and the count's cooldown is 4 turns. So that means I could cycle through all 4 of my copies of the count, and I'll be able to attack with almost a full board power gems every single turn while delaying the entire team. So you can see here are 4 enemies, and when I use the Avatar of Disgust, all of them will be slow by 2 turns. So it's an extremely powerful card that used to be just readily available everywhere. Unfortunately, now they've taken that away from the game, and so you can't really easily get it anymore. I don't think it's even available in any of the packs anymore. It used to be available in they used to give it out in Bounty Hunters. And so if you've been around a little bit while ago and you've collected them through Bounty Hunter events, take a look at your codex. You might have it, because this strategy really works well. Okay, and against these waves, this just a single set of power gems is enough to take most of its health, right? And so it's really only up against the mini bosses and the final boss that it's going to take a little while. So we're now on to 4 waves. And you can see here I'm able to take down a single wave here with just one fight. But against the final boss here, generally I need to hit quite a few times, and this is where being able to bring in the Visions of the Void will really help, because at least you'll get the 900 times damage boost for all of your cards, and also you give the Visions of the Void a damage boost on top of that. So every 3 turns you're going to deal a little bit more damage. Otherwise, what you'll see happen here is I'm going to use up all of the power gems here, and I will barely scratch it. Okay, so you can see that the health is still going down a little bit, but this is not going to be as significant as when I activate the battle skill for Visions of the Void. And so every 3 turns I will deal a little bit more damage, but other than that, it's going to be just small incremental chip damage. So it's not the fastest deck, but this is sort of my main setup here that guarantees me a victory in the Crusade maps. So the heroes I'm going to be showing and the strategies I'm showing in this episode really is just focus on the Crusade maps, because the solo. So I also have a team for solo boss, so if it comes up, I can show you. But in terms of the guild bosses, the guild boss at the Korelium level, it has both. It has gem silence, and it also has a traitor. So traitor's easier to deal with, but gem silence, there has never been a Earth Commander card released prior to this event that has the gem silence dispel. And the only card in this particular event that has the gem silence dispel is the ultra rare card or the ultimate form. And so it's not something that everybody has access to, and so I certainly don't. And so in order to counter that, there are other cards available for Earth that you can use, or you can use a non-Earth Warden. But all of those will kind of eat into your overall damage output. So now we're going to take a look at the level 12 Korelium wave here, and we're going to be using a deck that is by someone that you might know very well, which is Fiery Radi Altera, who came up with this particular deck that uses the Immortal Killer nuke damage in order to take down the boss. And so in here we have the high performance unit area and 2 support cards unit area, because they will stack the attack boost. We've got also Furious Goblin Jockey, which is a beast killer that does give additional damage boost to Verdant Druids, and so it helps with that as well. And I'm bringing in another Verdant Druid as an ally here, although it's not necessary. And if you take a look at my relics, I have 2 of the Immortal Earth relics at the very end, because I want to make sure that I can get some power gems spawn on turn 1, so that I could trigger the passive ability of the Verdant Druids, which will spawn 6 power gems every time they're at the very beginning of every turn, as long as there's at least 1 power gem on the board. And so this deck is all about building up the Immortal intensity until we can get building up the more Immortal intensity while using the unit area cards for immunity, so that we could deal some damage. So let's take a look here, and the thing that we have to make sure that we do is we need to make sure that we build enough power gems. We need to build at least 1 Earth power gem, and so let's go ahead and do that. All right, and it looks like, unfortunately, I built an Earth power gem, and then it got swallowed. So we're going to have to work a little bit to make sure that we build it back up again. And we also need to get our Slayer skill point to 25 so that we could activate the power gem here. So let's go ahead and, but the key here is you want to activate your unit area every single turn. And so let's go ahead and do this. And what we'll do is we will just keep matching until we can either have an opportunity to match match some Earth gems, or we can create an Earth power gem right off the bat. And one of the things that you can also do here is you could always just make sure that you match. You can also do a power gem swap just to get the Earth gems all out of the way, and that can give you some matching possibilities as well. All right, so let's go ahead and activate here, and we're going to do this. It's unfortunate I won't be able to do a power gem right off the bat, but as long as I can match the Earth gems 3 times, I'll be able to activate the power gem, and I'll be set for the next time. And so what you notice here too is every single turn I'm activating the immunity, and this is actually okay because I need to build up the intensity anyway. It's just that I could have used this opportunity to also do nuke damage to try and deal some damage every single turn too. And so let's see, if we're not anywhere close, then what we can do is we can just bring these Earth gems close together, and the hope is either they will drop or I could do a match there. And so let's go ahead and do a match here again. It is very easy to forget. It is definitely very easy to forget to activate your unit area, so just gotta make sure that you're doing this every single turn. Build a habit of doing it. Now this deck is one that is a little bit more likely to, for people to be able to build, but at the same time, it's also, it's easy to mess up a little bit as well, right? And so let's see here. I want to make sure that I've activated it. Yeah, so you see here I've activated, and now I have my power gems. Okay, so now we're set. So activate this, and we're going to go ahead and start nuking. You can see I'm able to deal some good damage already at 405, intensity. So here's the trick: you want to make sure that you don't accidentally match the power gem. You don't want to accidentally, set off the earth power gem. Otherwise, you're gonna have to rebuild it like I did. All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just nuke down every turn now. Every turn we'll be able to nuke. And instead of doing like a power gem swap between earth and dark power gems, you just do the power gem swap of the dark gem on its own, and you should be fine. And so here, this is where, the issue is, again, our earth power gems got swapped, but that's okay because we can simply just go ahead and activate our jockey for that reason. Okay, so this is the reason why I brought in the jockey, so that we could activate it and also give our cards a little bit of a support for damage boost. And so this is wave 1. Like I said, it does take a little bit longer, but this is more for fun, right? And so let's go ahead and so we can actually nuke it down, and it does do 2 additional nukes every time, or actually it does the second time. So it hits 2 units. All right. And now what we got is we got to make sure that we're going to activate this, and we're going to be doing this just so that we don't lose our earth power gem. Okay. The goal is to not lose our earth power gem while continuing to match our dark gem so that we can get immunity. And our intensity will eventually get to a point where it's going to be high enough that we're going to be able to just nuke down all the opponents really easily. And so let's go ahead and do this. So you need to match at least. You still need to match at least 5 earth gems though, and I didn't match enough there, and so we're gonna have to match it again the next time, but it's okay. So as long as you can match 5 earth gems, then you'll be good. And in a situation like this where you basically have a full board, just do a general match of the dark gems, and you'll be able to leave yourself with some earth power gems. Okay, and so we should be okay to nuke down the next set of enemies right now. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, so that's pretty easy there, and we're now on wave 3. So we are also at 765 intensity, and now this is where it's going to be a little bit tricky, because you see these little dark gems that also have like green spikes. They're technically the earth. I believe they've been converted to earth power gems. And so if I were to do something like, I guess I could try, let's go ahead and give ourselves immunity. And you can see there we lose everything. So like we've actually lost our earth power gems, but it's okay because we can activate it again. All right. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to give ourselves immunity, and then let's see how much damage we can do to our final boss here with our nukes. So you can see it's not a ton, but I would say it's significant. All right. And so let's go ahead and just go ahead and do this so that we can nuke again while building up more intensity and also more power gems. So we're going to go ahead and activate this again. We're going to nuke again. You can see it's now dealing a little bit more damage, and we're going to go ahead and do a power gem swap of just the dark gems, and then we're going to continue. And I believe that in a couple more turns, I should be able to build up enough intensity to be able to nuke it down pretty hard. And what's nice is every single turn, I'll be able to activate the nuke. And you can see here we hit it twice. And yeah, I think one more turn and we should be good to go. And we're going to go ahead and give ourselves, again, another immunity. And we're going to just simply do this. Yes, so I matched 5 gems, so I can activate again. So it's pretty fun, actually. Like, this approach is very unconventional. It's very different, but it utilizes another game mechanic in the game, in the cards itself. So you can see here, you build up to 945 in one shot, and we're able to take out the boss. And this is a level 12 Korelium boss. So it did take a little bit longer, but and it was definitely it definitely took some effort, but it is quite a bit of fun to do. And in a solo boss setting, I have a different team for this. So the goal here is not to get the 500% overkill. The goal is to just get rid of the solo boss so that I could continue on with the crusade. I'm actually having more fun playing through the crusades than the guild bosses, to be honest with you. And I don't really have a good solution for the guild boss, but I did come up with a team for the guild boss, and that is this one. So this one also uses Furious Goblin Jockey as the beast killer, to give me the beast killer bonus. The Defiant Duet is here not only to boost my jailers, but also to dispel weaken. So weaken is going to be a problem for the jailers deck because you can't get the damage boost. But luckily for me, or luckily for us, the Defiant Duet happens to dispel weaken. And so I'm using the jailers deck, but most of the damage is going to come from hard won gorillas. So let's take a look and see how this works. Again, you could, I've tried this as well. I've tried to time it so that my nuke damage will deal just enough damage to give myself a little bit of overkill, but it really depends on whether or not you'll be able to chip it down the right amount. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, different than a wave boss, there is a time limit here. So there's a 20-second clock here. And so now what we got to do is we have to do this the right way. And so what I've got to do is I've got to make sure that if I don't kill the boss right away, right? If I do this so that I could nuke it down just right, then I'll be able to hopefully get a little bit of a boost, right? But as you can see there, I couldn't take it down just quite right. And I think maybe I needed another set of power gems that would have done it. But now basically because of the fact that there's a 6-turn cooldown, I do need to I don't have much time before I either lose all of my health or before I have to activate everything. And in fact, I do need to wait one more turn here. I'm going to lose all of my health. I'm going to give the all of the cards are going to be available at this point. And so with this particular setup with this team, this gives me just enough time to do this attack and also for my nuke to come in. So you can see here, I'm going to hit it with about 40 trillion. And that actually does give me 100% overkill. So because I was able to revive and get additional turn delay, I had an additional damage boost. The amount of damage I dealt earlier gave me enough of a chip damage so that I could get a little bit of an overkill. I believe if I brought it down even further the first time, I probably could have reached 200. Because with the 40, well, I suppose probably not, because I got just enough for the 100% overkill, so I guess it didn't matter. So that very first attack that I did was enough for me to get the 100% overkill. So it's still really good, right? Like the fact is, it's not an event team, and I'm still able to get 100% overkill. I'm not even I don't think people with the event deck can get 500%, so I'm not even too worried about that. But the fact is, this gave me a nice set of trophies, but really the fun part is, for me anyway, going through the crusade with these different maps. And for the final deck that I want to show, we're going to jump into a diamond boss. We're going to take a look at the diamond wave bosses because I want to be able to show a different deck that doesn't use all of the strongest decks, but does have a, it does use and rely on your allies. So if you have friends that do have the event deck and the ultimate form, that would be a great time to utilize it. Because what we're going to be bringing in here is a team that uses 2 support cards and 2 event cards, but is capable of taking down a diamond boss. The trick here is to use the Yorn Swarmers, which is a turn delay card that only works against a single enemy. It's still hard to get because you can't farm it easily, but it's a card that is a lot more common. Hopefully you have that. So we're going to jump into a boss here. This is a level 10 wave fight. And I'm going to talk about how you want to use this. So you bring in this ally. You want to bring in your ultimate form as the ally because it gives you gem destroy every turn. And what's really nice is your support card, Elusive Alacia, gives you as a passive ability increased gem fall. So what that does is with that, you're going to have increased number of earth gems on the board that helps you power up your Yorn Swarmers. Now, we know that it's not as useful. You can see here, we're going to use it, and it only slows down one card. I mean, it's still helpful because at least that reduces the overall damage you take from the teams by 1, but it's not as effective as the avatar discussed. Now, what we're going to do here is we have 2 support cards and we have 1 event card that is going to give us power gems, and I just activated. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to activate one of the support cards so that I could get enough of the earth gems on the board to power up Yorn Swarmers every single turn, which we do, and so I'll be able to use it again the next turn. So in case we run into a mini boss, this becomes really useful, and even if you don't run into any mini bosses, at the very end, you'll be able to use it against the final boss. So we have a rare spawn here, so here's a little mini boss. So now Yorn Swarmers is going to be perfect. We're going to be able to turn delay, and we're just going to continuously use our spells here, and we're going to we're going to be able to use this every turn. And what I can do here is I can also use the Droom Enigma. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just cycle through. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cycle through the deck here. And this should give me... It won't give me quite enough, I don't think, to power up Yorn Swarmers in this turn. But I've built up enough of a turn delay so that it's not going to be an issue. And what you can do is, for this situation, you can also time it so that you can use your the Visions of the Void to power up your entire set of Beast Killer team, so you can deal even more damage. You have damage boost when you activate that card, but right now, what we're going to do is we're not going to use it. We're just going to activate the support card here. And we're going to try and do this and see if we deal enough damage to take it out. We probably won't. We probably will not, but let's see. So I guess for the rare spawn, it's not as bad. So we were able to deal enough damage actually to take it out. And so now, the reason the Frankie is here is because it is a card that is a good power gem spawner, and it's also available as a collection heroes. So all of these cards should be available to you so that you can use. And if you don't have the Yorn Swarmers, you could probably still use another card that gives you turn delay. You just won't be able to use it every 3 turns. You'll be able to use it you won't be able to use it every turn. You'll be able to use it once every 3 turns or so, which is still something that can be helpful. And with the amount of health you're going to get, it shouldn't be a problem for you in the diamond wave. So let's go ahead and try this out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to turn delay in the first. Then we're going to go ahead and activate Frankie's and see how many gems we get. So at the higher you get, you can get up to 22 power gems here. And now we're going to activate this card here. And unfortunately, couldn't get it to match 2 power gem force together. But let's see. We should be able to deal a good chunk of damage right away. Yeah, so right off the bat, we were able to deal some good damage here. Now we're gonna go ahead and activate the event card here, and always make sure that you are getting a maximum number of gems matched together to maximize your damage output here. And we may not be able to take it out here, but within another 2 turns, we're going to have more power gems again, and we're going to be able to definitely take it out. So we're not going to worry about it this turn. We're going to place our bets on the very next attack, which is going to incorporate all of our power gem spawners. And so this deck works best if you can put in more Earth Commander relics in here, because you're not dealing with shields anyway, so you don't need the shield breaker. It's just that if you want to power up the Frankie, it's best to have some Earth Commander relics. But for this particular case, I would put 1 or 2 of the event relic in here so you can get a little bit of a damage boost. It's just that older Commander relics, they spawn power gem 3s, whereas the current event relic only spawns power gem 2. So that's a little bit of difference in power spike. And so that's a diamond wave boss using nothing but 2 support cards, 2 event cards, and a non-commander, or it's a commander card, but it's a 3-star commander card. And so as long as you can use an ally that has the ultimate form, it also works if you use a Master Collection card. Either of those 2 options would work just fine. You don't really need to use the ultimate form, but I would recommend using the Master Collection card over the ultra rare card for your ally. And that is going to be it for this video. Hopefully this has been interesting for you, helpful, or if at the very minimum, hopefully it's been fun for you to watch. So thank you very much for your time. I will see you in the next episode where I talk about the upcoming event for the Light Slayer event. So thank you for your time. Take care, and I'll see you next time.